Who loves them and Obama loves them. When he, by the way, doubled the funding for Africa for this stuff, you need to find out the truth. You need to get this film.
There will be more philanthropy, but it's not a case where we passed around a tin cup or had a sign-up list. Anything these people do will be exactly their choice.
I would be almost certain that in India you will see increases in the percentage taking going to philanthropy increasing over the next decade.
When you're lucky enough to have a great success, then you have a question. Are you going to choose to spend it on yourself? Are you going to choose to have your children start as incredibly wealthy people? Or do you want to give it back to society? And everybody has a choice on this. But all four of us here have decided that making sure the wealth goes back to society is what gives us pleasure. We think it's the best thing actually for our children as well, that they're independent and make their own way.
In investing, I'm looking for things that are almost sure shot certainties, that where I understand the business very well, where I think the probabilities that I'm correct in my analysis are very high, where I'm going to see the results in a reasonable period of time. In philanthropy, you're tackling the problems of society that are the very tough problems, and problems that have resisted intellect and funding perhaps for decades in the past. You're taking on some very, very difficult problems, and ones where success may be measured in decades rather than in years. But that doesn't mean they don't need to be attacked. I mean, and only philanthropy can do it.
In MAFA 21, we talk about the fact that this eugenics thing, which eventually led to the legalization of abortion. And by the way, in MAFA 21, we talk about how it happened in steps, right? And the latest step is the legalization of abortion. Let me tell you what the next two steps are. The next two steps are government-funded abortion, and the one after that is government-forced abortion. Those are the next two steps in this process if we don't stop it. Right. Now, we talk about all these ultra-wealthy people, and we talk about the Rockefellers and the Carnegies and the Fords and those kind of people that were eugenicists and funded this thing. And people have this tendency to think, well, that was then and this is now. That was the 20s and the 30s and the 40s and maybe up until the 50s and 60s. Think again. Warren Buffett has started an organization now, and here was an article that was in the Dallas paper just a few weeks ago. He started an organization now to get billionaires to give significant percentage of their wealth into a fund that he's created. He says he is going to raise $600 billion. Now, he started it out by putting 46 billion, no, we're talking about billion, not million, with a B, 46 billion into it himself. Now he's gotten Bill and Melinda Gates, which is no surprise. They've been in the eugenics movement forever. They started Microsoft. They've given billions. Ted Turner, T. Boone Pickens. I would have never thought T. Boone Pickens would become part of this.
My husband's heart is broken over that.
T. Boone Pickens is in this deal. George Soros,
a billionaire.
Ted Turner. They're all committing to this. They're all committing to give at least half their wealth into this fund. A big part of this fund is going to be used, by their own admission, for population control, birth control, and abortion. Currently, there was an article in the New York Times, we have a copy of that here as well somewhere, New York Times a few weeks ago, by a woman named Emily Brazelton, who's a slobbering pro-abort, just championing this guy. And it was revealed in there that Warren Buffett is already, today as we speak, giving $150 million a year to the University of California at San Francisco to recruit and train abortionists. $150 million a year.
But here's how they get that $150 million a year. We talk about billions versus millions. Right. Well, what Warren Buffett did is donate $2 billion into a trust fund. And then the interest that they raise off of this is $150 million a year that has no fundraising costs associated with it. So it's just pure profit that gets pumped into the fellowship of pro-choice physicians. I don't think the entire pro-life movement raises $150 million a year.
No way.
But that's the
If they
amount.
are, I want to start getting some.
Well, the entire movement doesn't get $150 million a year, but off of $2 billion, just two, they're able to generate $150 million a year.